and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WinFM. Join AZARD Gums as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WinFM 98.9. It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD Gums, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WinFM. Join AZARD Gums as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WinFM 98.9.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD Gums, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and
unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Lord, SKN in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and man sorry. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. AAG, delicate lawyer, he really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAG joined the cult of the greedy. We just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society. Lord, SKN in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and man sorry. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. AAG, delicate lawyer, he really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAG join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKM, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy on all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society.
Troy Flanders, he will be arriving momentarily. And this week,
government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon.
The Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, he made an appearance on Freedom FM speaking to Jamie McPhail, one of the journalists there at Freedom FM, and he made a number of statements. In fact, Kyle, I like to believe, I like to think that every time the Prime Minister makes an address, a public address, that the Labour Party shivers in fear because they are so frightened as to what he's going to say. What is he not going to say? And how is he going to continue to mislead the people and so have damage control? And so I believe that they shiver in their spines when Terence Drew approaches a national audience to speak on behalf of issues. If you realize, Kyle, early within his term, the Labour Party's administration, the ministers flocked him. It was him and his team of ministers. At this moment, it is only him alone speaking. And perhaps there is some view that they don't want to be a part of the colossal mess that he's going to create when he speaks. Right. And so that might be why they are standing off and allowing him to go by himself.
All right, those are questions that, that's out there. But good evening, everyone. Good evening, Azad. And thanks for those who are tuned in. Today we are aiming to just, as the program name is called, Unfiltered, have an unfiltered conversation about the previous interview that the Prime Minister did. And as I said, I'm pretty sure every time he has a public press conference, he loses some level of support because every time you hear it, you go away disappointed every time.
Yes, in fact, at first, when he started his term in office and he would make presentations, you could see the buzzing excitement. He went on Freedom FM. I think that was one of the stations he went on first. And you could have seen the number of persons viewing. Subsequently, when he then made announcements and appearances, less and less persons are viewing. In fact, I sometimes said to persons, have you listened to what the Prime Minister has said? And they said they can't listen. They refuse to listen because it is nothing more but information that is not direct, information that seems to persuade rather than information that is correct, factual, and one that they are believing. He has made a number of promises. He has rolled out a number of programs. And most of the programs that he has rolled out to date seem to be not thought out well.
That's a trend with this current administration. From what they do, you can see there are no plans, no due diligence was done, nothing. It's just like, I think that they're governing on a vibe. It sounds good, you feel good, let's run with it. That's how I feel.
Yes.
Right? And the all of the interviews and everything like that is the same song and dance. The same song and dance every time. And that's one of the reasons why so many persons are tuning out. You could know what he's gonna mention. He's gonna say the word sustainable, he might say development bank, he might say audit. A number, a best hit, number one hits that he have there, right? So it becomes stale, one hit wonder at this point in time.
Yes, and the Prime Minister during his interview with Jamie, he indicated a new program that they're having, and he spoke about this cyber security program, and with the cybersecurity program that the Prime Minister spoke about. And of course, we welcome initiatives that will be towards the development of St. Kitts and Nevis and the human capital of St. Kitts and Nevis. But we have seen, we have heard, we have witnessed where the Prime Minister makes certain statements, certain promises, and these promises are not fulfilled. And these initiatives are not well thought out. And so he talks about the cyber nation. And of course, we want to make sure that our people are equipped with knowledge and experience, especially as we navigate an ever-changing and global environment. But the Prime Minister comes out of nowhere and states on the program that he just finished, perhaps, I think it was a launch. And he spoke about the cyber, he talked about Cyber Nations Program 2025. He says, your pathway to cybersecurity career. And there's a poster out that has been circulated, and it talks about entry requirements, being over the age of 18, being a resident of St. Kitts and Nevis, successfully complete the application program. You have to be unemployed. You have to provide a clean criminal record check, basic maths, written computer literacy. This is it. The government is giving a scholarship of 10,200 EC dollars. But the students would have to acquire a loan from the development bank for the same amount, 10,200. And it says that these persons will get cybersecurity certification, and he says that they will get placement in a 12-month cybersecurity analyst role. So, and of course, there are questions that one must ask, because we have to make sure we are asking this Prime Minister, of course, the necessary questions, because we don't want to be bamboozled. We have been fooled before, and he has made it. He has made it his task to continue to try to fool the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We saw it with the East Coast development. We saw when he spoke about this revolution, he and his administration spoke about a revolution, and that revolution has not yet started.
To be honest, right, when I first heard about the Cyber Nation program, I was like, okay, that's a good thing. We're going down the right path, right? But upon further inspection, you read this brochure here, you're seeing that the cost is $10,000 for someone who's unemployed, and they're going to get a space for 12 months. I don't think you can pay off a $10,000 loan in 12 months. I don't know if, unless you're making extra money like those fellas, I don't think you can pay off a loan in $10,000. But then the fine print though, we look at the company who's offering the program.
Yes.
Right? You said, what is that, Protexa? That's the name of the company?
Yeah, Protexa.
So I did some Googling research on this company. This company was founded in 2021. This company is still a startup. The company is not established as yet. So you're telling me that you want persons to put down $10,000.
And also the state.
Exactly. So that's $2 million, because I'm looking for 100 persons, eh? So that's $2 million easy, so. This company is currently looking funding. They just got $7 million in funding from a round of, startups going in Silicon Valley and those kind of things. They got a round of 7 million US dollars. So now we're going to give an extra 2 million. And you realize that this certificate, it is an accredited university. So you can't take this here and go nowhere because it's not accredited.
So one must ask the question, what is Protexa's track record in cyber security? One must ask the question, since the training is only for 6 months, what level of qualification is being offered? Why is a 6-month certificate program costing over $20,000? And why is the government interested in spending so much money on a program that doesn't even lead to an associate degree? Why is the government encouraging youth to expose themselves to $10,000 in student loan debt for a program that doesn't offer a degree? If the jobs promised after the program are international, what provisions and guarantees will be made to ensure that students get work visas? Why is the government investing $1.4 million to train 100 citizens on a program like this when similar programs offer University of the West Indies Cayville campus would cost US $20,000 if all costs are covered by government without the need to take a $10,400 student loan. And if you are to look back at the interview, when the Prime Minister left that interview, he had to go to on the airport.
Yeah.
He was heading to a CARICOM meeting.
Yeah.
And so the Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, and just a couple of years ago, we were talking about the free movement of nationals within the OECS and CARICOM. I would think that the Prime Minister would want to invest in the university of the region, the University of the West Indies, to build the capacity. Is it that the University of the West Indies is not good enough? And so these are questions that one must ask.
Exactly, because I mean, University of West Indies has been established since forever. It's an old institution. This thing just came up in 2021. They're saying it's the fastest growing in AI. AI is a buzzword right now. Eh? AI is a buzzword right now. When you look at AI, you have to think twice before you jump in there. Just like cryptocurrency and those kind of things, you have to think twice. Because what if a company comes up tomorrow, same thing, not easy out the plumb? What happened to the certificate now?
And the question is, we are going based on a track record of the Prime Minister of making promises that he cannot deliver. So it's not that we are against development of our young people, but we always have to make sure we do the checks and balances.
Right, man.
Because this Prime Minister has a record during his 2 years in government of making promises that are unfulfilled, making plans that he cannot complete, plans that are, when we look at it under a microscope, and not well thought out at all.
Yeah.
Troy, you wanted to say something. I see your
I
face.
didn't want to just jump in the conversation like that without himself acknowledge to your fans that I'm here.
Yes.
Oh,
You know?
you want the intro?
Yes. I was waiting for you to invite me
Yeah,
to
so
come
yeah,
in
so
the
we have
conversation.
we have Troy on the program, Unfiltered. It's good to have Troy. We went through what the Prime Minister said on Freedom FM. He made a song and dance of the whole interview.
He had another meditation.
You know, if I know you weren't here, guess what some of the buzzwords were?
You know, meditation is a meditation. We hear it already. Anything is permitted. He said anything about development bank?
Check.
I said,
Yeah, he said something about Development Bank.
I just see. I don't say going to go down because I don't really want to spend much time. The thing about it with what you were speaking about there.
Yes.
When you get that certificate, will you be able to apply your trade in other Caribbean countries?
Yes.
That with that you'll be
No,
able.
he just
That-
acknowledging what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm just asking the question.
Yes, I'm acknowledging you. I think that's a question you should ask the Prime Minister. Perhaps we don't know if he knows the answer. And based on how he has already been going, he has a track record of making promises that are unfulfilled. I use the same example, and we could use the same example with East Coast, because East Coast was touted to be this revolutionary housing industry that is going to happen, over 2,400 homes.
You know, it's frightening. It's frightening. This trend
And
is
nothing to
frightening.
date.
You keep jumping in 10 toes down into things that nobody even looked into.
And he comes out of the blue and speaks on these things, and he's like, I got you kind of moment.
But the thing is, this is something that need to people need to dig deeper into, and find out who all the players are, and who really and truly will benefit at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's hard in this grab crop.
It's a shady thing.
In this hard time to go 10,000 in debt for a certificate you're not too sure about, for a company that just started, and if it goes down next year, what happened to your money? That gone in because the company ain't established yet. So it's that question. Don't jump in just you have to do your due diligence.
And again, we are not against the advancement
At
of
all.
our young people or our citizens. We welcome ideas, initiatives that would advance. He spoke about the e-governance and saying that it will be part of the e-governance program because, you know, we want to make sure that as we transition into e-governance and an e-government, that there are safety nets put in place to ensure that. But at the end of the day, when these persons are finished with their 12-month program, can they come back to St. Kitts and Nevis, be absorbed into our market, where they're able to work and work for money that would ensure that they provide for their family. That is what I always want to think about, because at the end of the day, you get a job and you want to make sure that based on the qualifications, you are able to provide for yourself and your family, because this is the bread and butter talk. And so he also spoke about the smart hospital, That is something that is usually he likes to speak about.
Data meditation.
Smart. Yes.
Smart hospital. And so we have 3 hospitals currently, on St. Kitts. And so we have the JNF, we have the Paxson in Sandy Point, and we have the Mary Charles in Molyneux. And so, and on St. Kitts, of course, Nevis has its own hospital. And so persons, even with the hospitals that we have in St. Kitts, we don't feel that they are up to par. Here is a prime minister who's focused on constructing a new hospital, and that's fine, that's dandy. But many of the problems that persons are facing now seem to be based on the system.
It's not matter and brick.
Yes, not mortar and brick. You're construction. You're in the construction. It's more on the human resources, developing the human resources, developing the skills that we need. In fact, we had one doctor not too long ago of blessed memory who spoke about coming back and trying to serve in her country and not being paid. And we've heard the cries of many doctors who speak about coming to St. Kitts and working within the healthcare system and not being given the respect that they deserve.
Especially
and so
Cuba-trained ones.
and those are the kind of issues that we must address.
So if you're talking about the hospital, no, this is so confusing to me, because when you hear people complain about JNF, it's not normally the infrastructure, it's the system. But the system is such where you can't even fault the doctors, because the doctors are trying their best. But if you're going to understaff a place, so what is the plan really? We're going to take everybody from JNF and send them to the new JNF? And what happened to the building up there? Because right now it's understaffed. So a bigger hospital is going to be fully staffed? Now, how does that work? And then you realize that if a hospital is coming on stream soon, where is the investment in the human capital? Have you sent off anybody to train in the different areas? Because studying for doctor takes a long time. If you're going to build this hospital and you finish in let's say 3-4 years, people are still out there studying. So it's going to be a white elephant until you can staff it, or are you going to import more doctors? What happened to our locals? So where is the human resource program to match that whole thing? Have you invested more money in CFBC to get more nurses? Have you invested more money in scholarships so people can go and study certain areas? Where is that rollout? Hospital without people? I don't think that makes much sense in that regard. Right? So imagine you have some doctors right now. They would work the graveyard shift, finish at 8 in the morning, and then they have to go work the same day, later in that day. Because it's understaffed and the persons are overworked. So you can see the frustration on some of them when you go up there, the nurses, the doctors, they are frustrated. And so what do you think will happen to us, the customers, when we're up there trying to get some service? It's going to come out. So look after the people first. Look after the human resource first. No, yeah, they paint the button up there. I don't think that even change anything. Putting paint and all kind of thing, I don't know what's going on there. But the people are the engine that runs everything. Look after your people.
Yeah, and we need to make sure that we have the human resource necessary, the equipment necessary also, to ensure that persons are properly diagnosed. Because oftentimes persons go in there thinking that they're in for one thing. They are sent home. We have, I don't know how many of you, have the occurrence where, you're sent home and that loved one or that person just goes after a while. You understand? So persons have real concerns when it comes to the healthcare system, because for many of us, we only have St. Kitts and Nevis. We are not like the ministers of government who have increased their salary to a point that they are above the ordinary man. They already had monies, thousands of dollars they would have gotten from their salary when they stepped into office. They would have already been working in office based on a salary that was given to government ministers. And within less than 2 years, they increased that. Many of them moved out immediately from the community that they once lived and where they stayed and they campaigned. And we're not saying that they can't move and develop, but the speed in which they did it. We have a prime minister who who lived in St. Peter's, and as soon as he became Prime Minister, moved to Beacon Heights, looking down on the people. We have other ministers who moved out of the constituencies almost immediately. And it is about more so them. And so when we have these concerns, we are speaking on behalf of the ordinary citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so because we have our ears on the ground, unlike them, we are able to echo the plight and the suffering of the average person.
So true.
I don't want to say that they are out of touch. I didn't say they had the touch to start with. You understand? Because the whole thing about you think about it. Some people move from in a new town and they go up to look down and the guys them down. You have to think about how we going to sell to people these kind of things. What are you going to tell them?
And it's not even, maybe a year after. It's as soon as you get in, you move out. You mean the people that you surrounded yourself with to get in, once you're inside that office now, it's as if, okay, then we need to move from them.
I really like the point that you made, where you said that for some of us normal folks, JNF is it. Some of us don't have any visa, we don't have any connection, so we can't just fly out when we ain't got the money to put down just to just fly out. So they need to come good with this whole thing. Don't just do it just for a buzzword, smart. No. The system is people. People make a system. Look out for the people first, and then the system will evolve.
But you could ask the Prime Minister, if the proposed site that he's talking about, smart hospital, if they're in a water well there.
Like everything, there's no transparency. So, I mean...
There's a water well there. So you want to put a hospital and water?
And there's someone who's listening to the program now and messaged me and said, I listened to your program, not even a CCTV camera working at any of the hospital. I have not verified whether or not that is true, but this is a comment that is coming in. And so I guess that individual is saying that let's work on what we have and improve on what we have. We're not saying that because it was in the plans for the People's Action Movement for construction of a new hospital and everything. But we must make sure that when we are doing certain things, we don't just put our focus on one thing and leave the other low-hanging fruits alone. We have to make sure it is a holistic approach that is being taken. And clearly, the Prime Minister, who is leading the Labour administration, they do not take a holistic approach. That administration does not take a holistic approach in the way in which they do things.
That is so true. Like I said before, if you look at infrastructure development, human capital development should follow. There should be a plan. They should be married. You can't just have a new hospital and no one to staff the hospital. Are we going to bring in like I said, we're going to import all the doctors, all the nurses? You know, St. Kitts was one of the leading countries with nursing. That nursing school that we had, that was one of the top schools in the region. Even England sent for nurses from down here. So what happened there? Well, we can't invest further into that.
Someone is saying the top buzzwords for the Prime Minister: sustainability,
Check.
audit,
Check.
smart,
Check.
how soon,
Check. Come soon.
soon. Those are the three, but those are the top buzzwords. And so even when he's talked about the cyber program, he said, well, it has been done in a country, which made me think. He probably went to one of these workshops. You know, he travels often, always on the plane, not coming back with anything fruitful to the country, always on the plane. He probably in a workshop, he sees somebody talk about it, and he buzz in his head, just like the sustainable island state agenda that he has, and he toots, and we still can't get reliable energy, reliable water.
You know, that's something I've always wondered about. What I realize is that these persons, even on the level of the PS and those kind of things, they travel. They see something out there, and they want to bring it wholesale back to St. Kitts, as opposed to localize it for us. Look at it and say, okay, I see where we could shape it to us. They want to bring it wholesale back to St. Kitts. St. Kitts is unique. We are different. We cannot be compared to anyone else. Make it, localize it for us. We're different people.
That is brilliant. You know, because that's what I you can't just go and regional approach, adopt something that's in another country and not do the case study to ensure that it's compatible with your citizen.
I hear somebody said the hospital, that's from Taiwan. Just like that. That come right from Taiwan. Like, these people can't be serious. I've seen it so many times and it's so disappointing.
It's very disappointing, and how you say it is so true. And then when we look at it, we look at the geothermal, and he has said in the interview that they secured funding for geothermal. And what really came to my mind is the way in which he spoke about working with the opposition. So he talks about working with the opposition and, this is a St. Kitts and Nevis thing. And I look at it, the Labour Party is working with the opposition, meaning he's talking about Premier Matt Bradley and the CCM in Nevis. And so it made me think, why is he talking about Matt Bradley as opposition? Because lest I forget, even though the Honourable Matt Bradley holds the position of leader of the opposition, he's also the Premier of Nevis. And so one would expect that there will be some communication between the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Premier. So for him to and to make it seem as though he's doing something phenomenal, working with the opposition, where has he worked with the People's Action Movement or even the PLP in such a manner that he could say he's working with the opposition? You understand? He has been working with the NIA, because the NIA is the local government in Nevis.
By default, yeah.
And so he must make it clear that yes, he's working with an administration, the administration in Nevis. And so when he does those things, it makes you think. This is a man who is saying that he's doing things, crossing the flow, and well, not crossing the flow, but showing the hand and differently. But you're working with the Premier Prime Minister. We expect it. In fact,
he's supposed to.
The Premier, who is also the leader of the opposition, has been given great criticism as to whether or not he is really working as the leader of the opposition. Right. And that is a criticism that has been laid at his feet. Yeah. And so I am not attacking the Honourable Premier. But what I'm saying, there is need, perhaps, discussion for, let's say, constitutional reform. Because there are some persons who feel that constitutional reform is necessary, so it doesn't really get to a situation where you're holding water and fire in the same hand.
It's an interesting argument for real, because I would feel as though, okay, the PM is the opposition leader. The Premier is the opposition leader. He's also the Premier. Now, if I go too hard against the incumbent government, are they going to spite me as a Premier and do this against me to make me lose? So it's a very interesting one. It's almost conflicting. And so maybe something should be sought out in that area where the Premier cannot be the leader of the opposition, because we want full force.
I understand all of that. But while he's talking about geothermal and he was able to secure loan and so, you're looking at a couple of years off, before you get any electricity from geothermal.
Yes.
But we still have frequent outages.
No.
Right now. So what are you doing to deal with it now?
So you see what the Prime Minister does. While we are in a present state of despair and blackouts and darkness and unreliable electricity, he speaks about future engagements or future circumstances where he's bringing hope of the future while we're still currently facing the day-to-day issue of power shortage, water shortage. So, of course, we would welcome geothermal energy.
Naturally.
And we would want that, we move towards renewable energy where we could supply. But Prime Minister, address the concerns now. Address the concerns that persons are having now. We are told that there have been generators rented.
At a hefty price.
And Skelet already put out the outage for the week. You understand?
We renting generator for millions.
So make it make sense to us, the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, as to what is going on. And do not blame the farmer administration, because countless times before, when something goes wrong, you blame the farmer administration. But when something goes well, based on what has been done in the past, you take the credit.
There's just something about Labour and electricity in St. Kitts. Because, I mean, Pam came had to march in 1960 what? Because they wanted to charge a common man by the square footage.
Yes.
Douglas came in, put on the surge charge and them kind of thing, and then nationalize the corporatize Skillet. Now they come in here, they want to do prepaid electricity. It's always
But you
something
must
with
remember,
them and electricity.
Douglas said, March, you get down.
You know, I remember that.
See
You know,
when he
that's,
put on-
that was what I was going to say next. You know, I remember when the Prime Minister, then Prime Minister Dr. Denzel Douglas, he spoke about marching against the high cost of electricity.
That's when you wanted to cry?
And I said to myself, wait here. This is a corporation that government has shares in. You understand?
Is a government
It's government. You are the head of government. And you're bringing the people, the masses to march with you against what you have put in place?
I can't give him my credit.
Make it make sense.
But even so, and the current thing, you have to understand this, right? When Conway's talking about we are top up country and all kind of nonsense like that, he had to understand. We got digital, we got flow, we have options. Electricity is a monopoly. We have no options. So you can't just do persons as they like. That's one of the reasons why in America and other places you fight against monopolies. Because when there's a monopoly, they do the consumers as they like. You want to introduce prepaid electricity. Studies have shown that this kind of system disadvantages the poor people. Could you imagine that someone has to tap up the current, and if they don't have it, yes, they don't get a grace period, but after that, they get cut. Just like that. The system right now, yes, it's not the best right now, but it still helps poor people to live a certain quality of life. Because yes, I can collect, yes, but at least I can current until I pay what I have to pay. But if you're telling me that, you know, you got that additional pressure on somebody's mind, like, I'm going to cut because man, tap up that, that's not a improved quality of living for nobody in St. Kitts.
Go ahead, Troy.
Party is the party for poor people.
To keep them poor.
Oh, to keep them poor.
To keep them poor.
So that's a one farm to keep people poor so they could think.
Yeah. In fact, I did a walkthrough in my constituency on Friday. I went to some of business owners, and one of the owners said to me, when the Labour Party is in government, it's like putting butter on fat. You understand? Putting butter on fat. We have a caller. I'm told that we have a caller. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. Yes. Go.
Yeah, AZARD, man. Good evening to you guys, man. How you guys doing, man?
Good evening.
Yeah, great discussion as usual, man. We gotta keep government's feet to the fire. I have a concern, right? I saw a clip about the lands on the south side of Nevis. Right? It's some prime real estate land on the south side of Nevis that is right now currently untouched. And, you know, I've been hearing a lot of conversation recently about fracture secured lands for the people. And that section of Nevis is a particular realtor company over in Nevis that's trying to get hold of those lands on the south side of Nevis. And that's something I want you guys to look into, man. You know what I mean? Because that is one section of Nevis where the lands are still untouched. And the Nevis people have to understand what's going on with those lands. It appears that that particular realtor company is trying to get their hands on those lands and trying to force the people to sell.
Okay, bro.
Or they're being...
Yeah.
Different than that, the geothermal, the people of Nevis got to understand what's going on with the geothermal in terms of the arrangement and the guarantees of these loans by the federal government. And different than that, the last thing I want to say is that World Bank report. You guys who is in this PAM party, you guys should request the Prime Minister to release that document to your party leader and to all the parties in the Federation and make that document public.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you, Burl. Thank you for your contribution. Yes.
Thank you.
He did speak about it last week as well in terms of the World Bank, and it's something that we mentioned before, not on the program, but something that we could look at. Thank you for your contribution, Burl. We were talking about the Prime Minister, and his interview. And so if persons want to comment on what his interview was like for them, we spoke about the geothermal, and we spoke about the electricity situation that we have now.
No.
And so we are facing a situation where, again, monies are being told. We are told that monies have been spent for generators, and the power keep going out and maintenance check. And we have a prime minister who speaks about blaming the farmer administration without realizing, look, you have been in government as the prime minister for 2.5 years. It's almost 3 years. When do you stop blaming the farmer administration and take accountability of your own actions or lack thereof?
What they're trying to do, right, is normalize this power outage so that it become a norm. People just business as usual, right? They're trying to just show the incompetence. They want you to forget about that. Because, you know, look at the Minister of Public Works, Candice Maynard, right? When he was in opposition to Team Unity, right, he had a lot to say about a load of things, including the solar farm and all them things. He had a lot to say. So I want to believe now with the wealth of knowledge that he had.
Yes.
But then when he in opposition, he could have put it to play right now in government.
Indeed.
And it's everything can is touch right now. It crumble. The water situation has gotten worse. He used to have problem in care, and now he's going to Sadler's. He going to
Island-wide. It's island-wide.
Okay, island-wide. I hear people in border can say 6 o'clock, the whole run go put bucket. Imagine.
Forget that now.
You go put bucket on that thing and catch water, now who will throw water over your head to wash your skin.
At a public meeting that we held, the People's Action Movement, I heard the representative, if I'm not mistaken, Sean Richards, in his deliveries, presentation, he spoke about the Sandy Point Police Station and the water situation as well. And so we have a Labour administration that toots about fixing everything, but you feel more pain than anything else.
Yeah, they're not capable. I'm not even being hyperbolic. It has been, water has been worse, current has been worse under this administration. Definitely worse.
Not only that, the standard of living has deteriorated.
So you know what they do. And again,
Poor has getting poorer.
What they do, they give us ideas about the future. So we are fixed. They want to fix our minds on possibilities in the future when we are facing the realities of today.
Yeah.
With that, let me warn people in St. Kitts. They gave us these grandiose ideas of the future when they were running. A lot of promises, $1,000 pop, a lot of promises. So do not take on nothing they say no, because history have shown they cannot live up to anything that they are saying. Nothing at all.
So the Prime Minister also went on to speak about some sovereign fund, and he spoke about monies within from the CBI. He spoke about SIDF, and then he's saying what 313 million was there. And where has it gone? He said he did a audit. You know, that's the word he like to use, and a forensic audit
yes,
as well. You know, and person should be you should account for the money. And yes, we believe that you should account for the monies. But Prime Minister, you're looking at what the monies have been, or what the monies were spent on maybe in the last 7 years when the Labour Party left office. But what about during the time when the Labour Party was in office? What about making accountable or making certain that people are aware of how those monies were spent also? You understand? Of course, we're not against accountability. Accountability works, but don't try to curry favor the situation.
But here's the funny thing. If you listen to the interview carefully, you realize that the Prime Minister has now changed his tune. Back in the day, he was like, where the money gone? Nobody know where the money gone. But there was an audit. And he said he had the document. And now it is. They spend the money, but they didn't tell us they spend the money. Remember, Jamie asked him, well, Mr. Prime Minister, you have the audit. Didn't you see where the money went? Then they changed him over again. Oh, yes, I saw the money, but we want to make sure that what they said they spend it on was actually what they spend it on. So all the rant and raving he was doing and talking about where the money got, now we found out that the money ain't gone away, ain't spent in some poor way or anything like that. Now he realized that what they were saying is true. He changed him and said, they should have told us that they're spending money. They didn't tell us we're spending money. And that's a big song and dance now. Because the audits have shown that what he thought was happening did not happen. And so let him release the audit, let everybody see it for themselves.
Yeah.
But you look at it, right? The SIDF had in billions of dollars. Some people say it was up to 2 billion before Denzel left office. So if Denzel only need 300 million, Dr. Joe, that's the way you need to get the forensic auditing into. If you get $2 billion passed through the SIDF and at the end you only could show 300 million, Dr. Joe, you should get back the audit way back there too. And tell the people where all invest money gone. You're talking about billions, you know.
You know what is scary though? The fact that under the Douglas-led administration, so much money was apparently in the SIDF and those kind of things. But yet he came to the country and told us, tighten your belt. Things are tight. We have to put on VAT. You know how much haircut the man cost this country? Knowing that all the money is still there? Even when the other day they showed the numbers of the passport that was sold. So much money was passed through their hands. We could have been spared the IMF. We could have been spared VAT. We wouldn't have to have the all them hardship from 2010 onwards. They chose to use the money wherever they want to use it because there's no accountability, because it's non-tax revenue for sure. And so we don't even know what's going on. Like he said, it's a private fund, right? A slush fund.
And now he's speaking exactly. And now he's speaking about a sovereign fund. When most of the conversation before would have been about the consolidated fund. And then he speaks about putting checks and balances that are going to be under the consolidated fund, but still talks about a sovereign fund.
Again, taking other people's idea and bring it here. You hear Trump talk about sovereign fund the other day, right? But we have to understand, these things only make sense when we are making so much money that we have excess. Mr. Prime Minister, today is the rainy day. We're in rainy season now. Things hard now. So you're telling me you put up money when it could help people?
And again, Kyle, just Friday, I took it on myself and I said I have to visit the business owners in the constituency. I didn't do all. I did a particular area, finish a particular area. And most, not even most, all of them are saying that things aren't going well.
Is it true?
The economy is stagnant. Everybody feeling it. So when you talk about the rainy day, yes, as you rightfully said, the rainy day is now.
So the song and dance was sovereign wealth fund. The CBI ain't even stable yet. You ain't even stable from whatever they do with the CBI, you ain't stable yet. And you're talking about sovereign fund, you're going to put up the money for who to use. People need the money now. And like you said, the eye test alone, when you hear Petty come around, you go down the terminal, you go down by little bars, them empty. Them on a bar, nobody come buy no drinks, nothing to do. It's obvious that things are not going well. The economy is not moving. So even with this wallet boost and this reduction in the VAT, in 6 months' time, what's going to happen? A miracle going to come along in 6 months' time? For everybody who broke January start, in the next 6 months, well, we're going to magically get money.
But look at it, Kyle, and try. He said that if you make $5,000 under, you get $250, right? A month for 6 months. It comes out to what? $1,500. When Team Unity was in office, civil servants received a double salary. That one time of getting the double salary in the year would have been more money in the hands of the people than the 6 months that he has allotted. You understand? Because if you look at $1,500, that is basically above minimum wage. So at least $1,500 or more would have been in the hands of citizens. And when you look at it, he's not even giving it to households, because persons are making analysis and saying, what is, you have one parent in the home, and that one parent makes $5,200, but has 4 children, 3 children. You understand? That parent is in a less favorable position than, say, you have a household that has in 3 workers, and the 3 workers are making about $3,500 or so independently, and they don't have any persons who depend on them, and so they get the boost. You understand? So again, when you look at what the Prime Minister has rolled out, it's on good BBW. Roll off the tongue, BBW. And so you make it seem like by BBW, you get the BBW. But when you analyze it, it's not well thought out. It's not touching the people as it ought to be.
And that's what this program is all about, unfiltered. We're going to get through it, cut through all the nonsense.
And one thing that pained me with that program is when you got to stand up in the line and pull your phone and put up your phone and get a little bit of food, right? You
Yeah.
people,
And everybody got to see that
look
then.
at you.
And sometimes you know go through and then you got to
Right,
double check.
yeah,
Look,
got your food.
what was so hard under Unity? Why was so hard to do direct deposits? Why was that not an option? During the time of COVID and everybody get $1,000, why direct deposit on your account? Why was that so hard? You're just trying to belittle people and that
Just
kind of
belittle
stuff.
people.
It pains me.
Because they lost the touch of the common man. They don't understand how people feel.
I'm the prepaid card. You go on the swipe, you swipe and go. You give some dignity. Right?
That's the point. That's the painful thing about it.
They
too,
don't think through nothing. And if you look at this whole thing here, 2005, who is that going to move economically left or right? What kind of, what would you do to a household? He's talking about 6 months to get yourself together. Who could pay off a loan in 6 months? 250 pay any loan in 6 months? And you have recurring expenditure. How are you going to help after 6 months has passed?
I mean, 250 can't say take care of your grocery for a month.
Because in the same vein, you give us 250. Bus fee going up, current going up just now, all these other things going up.
No, the food in the supermarket going up daily.
Daily, every shipment something change.
Daily. So you say you get 250 and at the end of the day, you not feel nothing.
It's eroded.
And you being embarrassed at the cashier when he bounce, when the baby bounce.
Right, watch it. I was in Best Buy there, right? And a lady was in front of me, right? The lady trained she best to do the thing. The woman gets fed up, she just pull out a card here. Take that. Man, if she got money in the card, but she just set the card because this thing ain't working out.
Yes.
Right?
And so we have to, and the thing about it, what I say is that administration, this labor administration, like a menace, like how the song said, a menace to society. Saying it's in a real dilemma for the countries being ran by labor. You understand? The lyrics in that song is powerful. And we have ministers of government. I mean, if they had done the work for the term and the country was going well, you think anybody will care about their increase in salary? They'll just say, well, we're doing well as a people. They deserve the increase based on their hard work. But before they have put their feet to their hands to the plow, they increase the salary. Thousands of dollars over the average man, and they put themselves in a 36% increase, far above the average man. So they can't relate Troy, they can't relate Kyle, because they are not, they don't know about they're not common at all.
But in the same breath, well, they increase the salary by 30-something%. They increase bus fee by 40-something% from the ordinary man.
And again, they have the travel allowances, so they ain't even hitting the pocket. Again, they want travel
Imagine
allowance.
that. Who could sit down in a cabinet and say to himself, by let me put on 40+% and bus fee for the ordinary man.
An
When they
administration that has no hats and whose ears are not on the ground. Their feet are so high in the air, whether by when they leave their constituency and go elsewhere in their new lavish homes, or when they're on the plane traveling and having photo ops.
Because if, like I said, if you had the ear to the ground, right? Because I heard from some busmen saying they didn't come to us to discuss nothing. All they had to do is give us some concessions. Give us some concession on certain things to reduce our operating margin. So the price will remain the same, but because our margin now increased, we get more money still in our hands. That's all they had to do. Right? But they went and not talk to nobody and implement this whole thing. In my current job, right, where I'm at, I've seen students tell me straight up, they can't come to class because they ain't got no money for bus fee. Can't come to class because they ain't got no money for bus fee. Because if you come to class, bus fee plus lunch, like that's a lot of money in a week.
And Kyle, I have had persons, you invite them to certain places, and adults, and said, the bus fee, they say what they used to spend before, they're spending more now. And I would like to have seen this administration be more real with the people. When we look at a plan, right? When we look at how our monies are spent, a lot of money going to housing. Some persons are paying exorbitant rent. You understand? Because there's no rent control, so to speak, and so landlords put in a rent that is high sometimes
housing
above
market.
the average man. There is no real opportunity for someone who comes back from school, or even someone who works on minimum wage or the like, to afford the construction of a home. Housing has gone up, the materials, everything gone up. The second thing you look at now, persons are spending a lot of money when it comes, I guess, with the food, because there's inflation, the war and everything. We don't have and then energy. Energy is the next one. Because the current, and as the Prime Minister said, it's subsidized, but there had been subsidized under Team Unity, and you never hear Team Unity, which Pam was a part of, complain about subsidizing for the people, because they're planning to make people's lives better. We ain't hear nothing from this administration to address those concerns. They talk about the smart homes and the East Coast, and that's something he speak about in his interview as well. In fact, not one, but two callers called on the program and asked the Prime Minister specifically about the East Coast. Prime Minister act like he not here. Prime Minister answered the question about NHC building homes. But Prime Minister, the gentleman asked specifically about the East Coast. And many of us are asking the question, what has happened to the East Coast and the construction of the homes that were promised by your administration to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? So now you're talking about NHC. Well, NHC had always been there. NHC, under a Team Unity administration in which Pam was a part, provided hundreds of homes to the people. You came in with this revolutionary plan in housing, talking about East Coast, signing contracts. In fact, during that time, I think they were saying that they can't reveal certain things because of some technology and some trade, insider trade, something they were talking about. But we are those now. Where is the construction of these homes that when persons ask you a direct question, you dodge?
Ask Jeffrey Hanley. Jeffrey, where's East Coast? The question is East Coast still a part of the housing revolution? He is the minister responsible for housing. Since Dr. Joe can answer, you should be the one to answer, because you're the minister directly responsible.
And in fact,
remember, your hands off and everything else.
Dr. Hanley, who was the Minister of Housing, they had ceremonies, groundbreaking, where they brought the gentleman here in St. Kitts and Nevis, had whole speech, song and dance, and nothing happening. They even have a office, I think is by the Karma area up by there. Sugars, that area there. But I have passed that area numerous times. I never see the door open. I never see the gate unlocked. I never see there is any so-called business that has been operating.
But, as you're talking about the housing thing, something the Prime Minister said, and I'm going to touch him now. He's talking about the situation with aggregate. We ain't got no booming construction going on in St. Kitts. Construction is not booming. So how you got a problem now with aggregates? When we were doing the roads, houses were building, construction was booming, aggregate was never a problem. You see, again, I tell you, everything and then get worse.
Try.
How could you get aggregate problem if you're not building a house?
I had a situation where a constituent said to me, Azad, what is going to happen? I am 40 now. I don't have a home. It's not because of lack of trade. But when you go to places like NAC, they're picking and choosing who to do it. Right now, they talk about the housing revolution and nothing happening. These are real concern by the average man and woman in St. Kitts and Nevis, And so when I speak about it, I speak bearing their own... Because how could you be in government? And if they're coming to me as someone who is interested in politics and have a desire to serve, I'm sure they're going to the ministers and airing their concerns to the ministers. But where is the brain work? Where's the enthusiasm? Where's the concern, the compassion to develop a plan that actually works and benefits the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? Not no fancy thing. When you talk about, oh, we're going to build 600 homes per year, and you can't even build one now.
But if you follow the Labour Party, they use housing as a weapon to get votes. So, no surprise you hear the Prime Minister, he couldn't say put a number. He said he going to build a load of house. He couldn't say 10 or 20, a load of house. Because as it get closer to election, they're going to use housing as a weapon against the people to garner votes.
That is very sad, because I could remember under Team Unity, you and me, we were in Saddlers and we were working on the roofing project. We went Saddlers, number 6, to work on the roofing project. And some of the person would tell us straight up, make it wide, I ain't getting our vote. We say, that's what it's about. It's about helping people. So we're going to put on the roof because you deserve it. We're helping people. But I don't think that Jeffrey Hanley and Drew understand how important housing is to the people of St. Kitts. If your budget is, if housing is almost most of your budget, do you understand the kind of relief you're going to give people in the standard of living, the cost of living, everything, if they get a decent way to live? Like, don't be dilly-dallying with nothing and don't use it as any carrot over nobody to try to obtain votes. I remember back in the day when you live in Saddlers, half a hug and them kind of things, they say, they give you a shell. And if you want the cupboard, you got to vote. You want the tiles, you got to vote. That's the kind of mindset the Labour people got when it comes on our people in St. Kitts and housing. It's a carrot to dangle for them to stay in line. I've seen people basically went against their own wishes to vote. They had to vote so that somebody could see, a segregate could see that I vote Labour in order to get a house. I've seen it. That should not be. They should not use something as important as housing as something, a negotiating tactic or anything like that to manipulate nobody. If the system ain't working now, find the next one that's working. If East Coast dead, tell us. Just like we had big ceremony, song and dance, come to us and say, this is what happened, here's plan B.
Yes.
But I don't think there's any plan B.
So this was a commentary by someone, and it says, the Labour way. Wreck it, patch it, take the credit. And it goes on to say, so the government schools over the economy, flips it over, leaves people stranded, and then comes back with a half-baked rescue plan, BBW. Expecting applause. The same hands that created the mess are now outstretched, waiting for gratitude. And the cherry on top, you're using our own money to help us recover. Wow, how generous. It's the same tired routine. They squeeze the people dry, throw them into hardship, then turn around and present themselves as the solution. A grand performance, really. They cut off the water, then show up with a bucket and a grin, acting like saviors. Meanwhile, the people who actually suffer through these policies are supposed to be thankful for the breadcrumbs being tossed their way. This isn't leadership, it's damage control dressed up as benevolence. And let's be real, it's not even good damage control. The cost of living is climbing. Opportunities are shrinking, and yet we are somehow expected to believe that the very architects of this disaster are the ones best equipped to fix it. At this point, the only good thing they're really good at is repacking failure as progress. No amount of spin can hide the truth. A government that creates the problem doesn't deserve praise for offering a band-aid. And it certainly doesn't deserve a round of applause for using our own money to do it. A good commentary right here,
said.
based on the situation that is happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
As the commentators say, it's something that happen time and time after. So we don't see it. So I will tell them, stop it. Stop playing with people's emotion. Done with it. You are supposed to be in a leadership lead. Stop it. Stop playing people.
Just to add to that, as Albert Einstein said, right, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So they are the ones who created it. You think they could solve it? They cannot.
And I like to say, he who is the problem cannot be the solution.
Here we go. You see how much of them got out there? And he applies perfectly to what's going on right now. But it's a well written, well said commentary. That just hit the nail on the head. And you could see that people out there feeling the squeeze. And nobody's been, like the electorate, different now, no? Nobody being fooled, you know? So this wallet boost story, we don't see straight through it. Most of the programs, it is so transparent because like I said, they're not good at it. They're trying the problems, but they're not good at it because you could see straight through everything they are trying to do. Wallet boost, your boss after 20-something thousand people register for that.
I'm gonna hide the number.
Like, that is embarrassing.
Of course.
That says so much about the country.
If like 2,000 your working population got to depend on handout from the government.
And you boasting about that.
I ain't gonna hide the numbers.
Maybe that did, maybe yeah, but you know, because that make no sense. Because that means that so much person that just barely living paycheck to pay, just the middle class dead. There's the middle class in St. Kitts. And is them up there with the 32%, 33% increase in salary? Them up there? And the rest.
And all of us.
That's how we go right now in St. Kitts.
And as I like to say, well, I don't like to say it, but I have to say it, is that it's as though the people of St. Kitts and Nevis elected a monarchy, whereby they elected the royal families of St. Kitts and Nevis. Because these persons sit on their lofty towers, unaware of our situations, unaware of our plights, unaware of our day-to-day obstacles. And they rule from where they are, out of touch with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I haven't made a problem with that. They just don't listen. People talking, people crying, but they just don't listen. I experienced that when I was working for government. You bring ideas, they tell them no, so you got them, I'm going to just bring their own thing. They don't listen to nobody. When I was part of the Farmers Consortium, you go to the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister going to say, well, he thought he was going to come talk to farmers, but he was surprised at the level at which we were conversing and that kind of thing. Like, they feel as though they are here, and they are the supermen with the capes, and they're going to rescue all the poor people out there. Nobody know better. They know all, and you got to listen what we say. That has always been how they approach certain things. They just don't listen. But hey, elections soon come, and they're going to hear just now.
As the old people like to say, who can't hear does feel. An election has consequences.
Definitely.
Is there any final remarks that you guys would like to give as we wind down?
So my final thing, my takeaway from that interview was that the government has no plans, no direction. Everything was just ad hoc, just peace here. It is not people-centered. Because look at it. They're saying they want desalination plant. Are we sending out engineers to learn about this thing? Are we training technicians for when it comes downstream? They said they want the hospital. Like I said, are we sending out doctors to train? Are we sending out nurses to train? They talk about the Tabasco project. We didn't even touch that yet because that again. They're talking about agriculture. But yet there's no investment in agriculture from the ground up. You go at CFBC, there's like 6 persons enrolled in the agriculture program. At high school, primary schools, it helped me hard to pass Beach Island. A nice plot of land to the back. Every time you pass, it's pure weeds. Because there's no investment in people. So all these things they're talking about, coming soon. What about the people? Like, it is not so hard. Focus on your people. And if you listen to your people and focus on your people, you cannot go wrong. But they're stubborn and they're stuck in the ways, and we're going to see what happens after that.
I would just like to thank you, Azad, for the opportunity. My thing is, I have an issue with this fear shooting. I think it's time to put this fear shooting to rest. You ain't want no foreigner come and tell you how to treat your sister. Right? Mm-hmm. Time to put it to rest. Timothy had a chance, Joe got a chance, and they want to bring in people to intervene into their business. It's time we give People's Action Movement a chance, who put the fear share thing to rest.
Yes. And on that note, I want to thank everyone who tuned in this evening to the program Unfiltered. We will continue to have discussions like this because we will continue to be vigilant, because we, as a party, the People's Action Movement, as a party in opposition, it is our responsibility to keep this administration, this Labour administration, accountable for the people. There are many persons out there who express their views and their concerns, but due to fear of victimization, we are going to speak on their behalf, and we're going to continue to speak on their behalf. We're going to continue to address the concerns of St. Kitts and Nevis, because we want better. We deserve better. We deserve a government that cares for the people that elected them, not one that separates themselves from the people, closes their ear from listening to the people. And we are saying that the People's Action Movement is the best party suited to lead this federation forward. The People's Action Movement has a proven track record of putting people first and establishing St. Kitts and Nevis where it needs to be. And on that note, I want to say to the persons, our citizens in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether here or abroad, to have a wonderful week. And everyone listening, have a wonderful week. And God's willing, you'll hear from us on another Unfiltered episode where we talk about the politics, opinions, and facts.
Found the sound. 98.9
Lord, this can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, it's pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and man sorry. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy's down, hard life crippling, we a collective menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's with fate. Under these enemies of the state, AAG, daddy get lawyer. We really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAG join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. With infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKM, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. On SKM, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace to society.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD Gumbs, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WinFM. Join AZARD Gumbs as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WinFM 98.9.